Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Evolve with Emily show. I'm your host, Emily Hayden, and today's episode is brought to you by Transcend. Today's guest is Taylor Simpson. She's a feminine wealth coach, and she helps women live the abundant lives that they desire to live. She fully embodies the full feminine goddess energy, and today's episode was nourishing to my soul. I felt like everything that she was sharing just resonated with me on such a deep level. We get into so many different topics. We talk about what it's like to be an embodied woman, what it means to be an untamed woman, and to live a full body yes version of your life and nothing less. I have no doubt you guys are going to love today's episode. Make sure that you listen, because about midway through the show, I am going to share a very exciting update and announcement with you all. So listen to the whole thing. Okay, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's show. Today we have on Taylor Simpson. She is a feminine wealth coach, helping women to live the abundant life that they desire unapologetically. She is the host of the Embodied Woman podcast and host of the Untamed Festival. Everybody, welcome on Taylor to the show. Welcome.
Hey, so happy to be here. So excited.
Feminine wealth coach. That is so cool. So talk to me a little bit about your personal journey of evolution within femininity and also your experience with wealth and how that led you to your soul's purpose of helping other women step unapologetically into their most embodied selves.
Oh, I love this question because it takes me back to a lifetime that I lived in this lifetime that feels like forever ago, as I'm sure all of us, right, that evolve into many different iterations of self. Mm-hmm. And I remember, this memory comes to mind, walking my dogs. I lived in Washington, D.C. at the time, working on Capitol Hill, and walking my dog and just thinking like, kind of like looking at my life on the outside's perfect and great. But on the inside, I was a mess. On the inside, I was burned out. And I was listening to a podcast, and a woman was on there talking about money. And she was very specific with this sentence that stuck. I don't really budget. I just trust money flows in and out. And I remember thinking, what the heck? Like, what the hell is this woman saying? I was so triggered, so annoyed, but it planted a seed for there's something different. Like there's got to be something different out there. And it wasn't ready yet to unravel. And I had to still kind of go through the iteration of leaving my government job, going into the fitness world, going through that, through bodybuilding, through self-love, through manifestation, spiritual awakening. And then it circled me back to, I was going through a divorce, living in my best friend's basement because I had nowhere else to go. Just, a few years before that, I was in anger management and Overeaters Anonymous and just addicted to kind of everything external. So I find myself having decided to clear all that, burn it all down because it was not aligned anymore. Living with her in her basement, thousands of dollars in credit card debt, just trying to figure out how to be an adult now on my own, not in a marriage anymore. And I got back into a podcast about wealth. And as someone who was an expert in the masculine, an expert in the push and the hustle and the grind, it was again confronting for me, but I knew it was time. I knew that if what I was doing wasn't working and simultaneously leading me down this breadcrumb path that kind of had me at not a rock bottom, but a new chapter, that I had to be willing to do something different. And so I joined every course I can find on wealth, on feminine energetics, on polarity, tantra, you name it. I was a student of it, reading all the books, listening to all the podcasts until the dots really started to connect and the light bulbs turned on. And before I know it, I'm that person that's talking about wealth energetics and the feminine. I had to be willing to get in the muck and see where the wounded masculine within me was trying to take charge and where the feminine was ready to start showing up. And now I teach people how to go through that in their own iteration.
I think that is such a beautiful story of how our own journey truly is not just for our own sake and our own lessons, but it's so that we can guide people along their paths as well. And for me, that gives me just so much like peace in my heart, especially when, you're navigating through some difficult things, just to know that, this is not just for me and my lessons, but it's for the people that are attached to me too. Like there's so much goodness that's going to come out of this. I look at you having been that person in the basement, struggling, maybe not having the answers, probably stress, and I'm sure anxiety and maybe tears and all these moments that you went through in order to stand here fully embodied as this beautiful, wonderful woman who just led other women through a retreat experience in Costa Rica, like really just living such a different life. You quite literally jumped into a different timeline of your life. So talk to the person that's listening who feels that they're resonating with that hyper masculinity. What are maybe some few baby steps that they could take to start to awaken the feminine energy that is within them?
Love this question. So I'll start it with giving a visual here comes to mind. The womb and the throat. So your womb, your ovaries, and the throat itself, the larynx, look the exact same. If you looked at an image, obviously there's some slight differences, but they're a mirror of each other. When you look down on a cervix, you look down on a throat, they look the exact same. So I start this off because while men have a womb center, a sacral chakra, they don't actually have the womb that we have. Even women who have had a hysterectomy, you still have the space of a womb. So this is for all women with a womb. When we are in this state of push in the masculine, we live in a world that tends to glamorize that and give us gold stars for doing great, straight A's, being the best. And it's not how we work as women, right? We are cyclical. And so when we're in this hypermasculine state, it can lead to thyroid issues, adrenal issues. Remembering the throat is a mirror of the womb. So anyone that's listening and you're like, oh yeah, I've been having adrenal issues or thyroid issues, or maybe you're not speaking your truth. Maybe you're not voicing what you really want to voice to the universe, to other people, what you're teaching on social media or in general isn't really what you want to be teaching anymore. And unless you drop out of the throat and into the womb, it's going to keep getting harder and harder. So what it takes is step one is dropping into your womb. And for that, I remember hearing people be like, just drop into your womb. And I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? Right. So what that means is placing your hands over your womb and taking as many inhales and exhales as you need to get present into this portal to other timelines, to past, present, future, all happens. We come from a womb. Our moms come from a womb, and infinite, the womb of the creator. So knowing that we come from the womb of the creator, no matter what you believe the creator is, like we came from a womb. So that just is fact. Mm-hmm. So knowing that, I bet you all the wisdom from all timelines, all of our past and present and future selves and ancestrals are in our womb. So really thinking about how big that is, how infinite that is. It's near impossible to drop into our wombs and be in our heads. We might be overthinking it. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Like, that's totally fine. But where our attention goes, energy goes. And so bringing intention to the womb is going to help you to slow down, to get present. And what might happen, you might feel emotions. You might feel anger, rage, pleasure, joy, whatever it is. That means that your womb is like, hi, yes, I'm here. I have so much wisdom to give you. That doing could never suffice. That pushing could never suffice. And so dropping in there and listening to it, whatever words come up, whatever sensations are all so perfect and so divinely orchestrated for you in that moment. And then once we begin to connect with our womb, then we really begin to open the portal of the divine feminine, which is the energetics of wealth, energetics of abundance, of richness, right? Feminine is receptivity. Feminine is allowing. Feminine is constantly overflowing. I'm looking out on the ocean right now and the jungle. The nature is a mirror of our wombs, constantly shedding, growing, money in, out. So there's a correlation to all of it.
Oh, so beautifully said. My goodness. And I love that I can hear just from the way that you express yourself, how embodied you are and what you've gone through, because there's no way that you can express all of this without first having walked the path yourself. And in a world full of, people on social media that are not necessarily walking the walk, they preach something else and walk something different. It's really refreshing to see someone really walking the walk. So thank you for your journey and everything that you've done to be here to share this wisdom with us. I want to take it back to connecting with your womb, and we could even let's make it a little bit more general even for the person that's listening who is not connected with their body. What are maybe some practices or some tangible things that you have done or do in your life that have helped to reconnect you with your body?
Yes. The first thing that comes to mind is dance. We can dance anywhere, like to anything. And remember when we were little girls, where we could just dance. We didn't have to have a reason. It could be to any music at the grocery store, just being silly in our home. That innocence, that was the innocence that we were all born with, and they were all able to come back full circle to. Should we give ourselves the opportunity to do that? So number one, dance. I incorporate dance into everything, which is why I'm hosting a festival and why I host events for women to gather and dance. Like that is like, there is not a day that goes by where I'm not catching myself dancing. So number one, dance, dance, dance. And it might feel uncomfortable. I remember when I turned that part of me off, and then when I turned it back on, I had this belief that I'm too stiff, that I'm not sexy enough, that I'm not voluptuous enough, that I'm not fill in the blank enough. And so it felt a little bit uncomfortable to dance, especially even by myself. So if you're hearing this and you're thinking, oh, cringe, I get it. Just by yourself in front of the mirror, in a closet, whatever you need to start dancing is going to help you really get out of your head into your body. Another practice is breath. So like I mentioned before, but in a more intentional way, I love box breathing. So in for 6 seconds and then exhale for 3. Or inhale for 10, hold it, exhale for 5, and repeating that at least 10 times and watching whatever color comes to mind that feels feminine for you. It could be pink, it could be gold, it could be glitter, whatever it is. Each inhale, dropping that color down into your womb. Then when you hold it, and then exhale, you can say release, clear, I let go, whatever it is that's going to support you with staying in your body.
Can I cut you off for 1 second? Could I actually ask you to lead us through like 2 box breaths, 2 rounds?
Done. Yes. Okay. All right. Wherever you are at, just exhale. Just letting yourself exhale, maybe rolling your shoulders back, softening your jaw, softening your tongue. We tend to hold a lot of energy in our throat and our jaw and our tongue. So bring attention to that. And one more exhale here. And then big inhale, big inhale. Shoulders back, heart open, dropping it down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right in the womb. Hold it there for 1. And release. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 more, whatever color comes to mind. Inhale. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, dropping it down. 1, hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just release, letting go of anything that does not serve you in this moment, in the past, in the future, in the present, and just allowing yourself to sit with this energy in your womb, in your heart, in your throat. It's all connected. It's all divinely orchestrated for you in this moment. And you can go over that again and again as many times as you needed. Again, 10, 5, 8, 4, until you feel like your nervous system is softening, that your body is softening, that your womb is opening. And then you know it's time to go to the next thing you're working on or doing.
That was magical. Thank you. And I wanted to have you lead us through just 2 breaths because I wanted to show the audience and the listeners how powerful our breaths are, how we always have access to our breath. It's not something you have to go and buy. It's not, a cold plunge is great, but you don't have to have access to a cold plunge. It's something that we always have with us, which is access to our heart, access to our breath, and the ability to tune in, and how something as simple as 60 seconds can change your energy and how you show up to life. Like, how beautiful is that?
Yes. Thank you for asking to go through that. It's so simple. And we can do that box breath when we're driving, right? Keep your eyes out, keep your eyes open.
Yeah.
But like while we're driving, standing in the line of the grocery store, we can do it anywhere while we're just in between calls. It's accessible.
I love that. Thank you. So, okay, I'll let you continue. So we were talking about practices to reconnect yourself with your body, to get out of your mind, back into your body. Are there any other that have been really transformational for you?
Absolutely. So 1, dancing, 2, breath, 3. Ooh, what comes to mind is higher self creating. So this is something you could do when you close your eyes and you think about the version of you who has gone through the womb awakening, who has become more feminine, like whatever that looks like for you. I like to work with a lot of archetypes are my favorite thing to work with. And it's creating your own inner feminine goddess. You could paint her in your mind. What color hair does she have? What is she wearing? How does she walk? How does she talk? And just start to think about this version of you. Something I like to always anchor in is if the vision is in you, it's for you. So as you're thinking, I'll repeat that. If the vision is in you, it's for you, because we can never think about something that isn't already done. Like ideas and visions don't just drop in randomly. They drop in because they're a reality in a timeline. And so when you begin to think about this feminine version of you, that version you're thinking of, she exists. So giving her life, right? I get goosebumps even just thinking about that. When we give her attention, that gap between that version that's in her feminine power, creating abundance and ease, is going to close tighter and tighter, tighter on your present self, because there is no future. It's simply revealing that which is ready to be revealed in every present moment. And when you think about this version of you, it's not about chasing her or how do I get her to come here. No, it's about letting her unfold in the most present way that you could imagine. And that's by choosing to feel and think about her right now.
Oh, I love that so much. And I think to add on to that, creating a really beautiful, safe container for her to come out is so necessary, right? Because we go back to being in the hyper masculine and the driven by force and goals and all these things, which are great. But we have to allow this space for the feminine to come out and dance and play. So what have you learned about creating containers for yourself, whether it be for your emotions or practices? Talk a little bit about creating a container in a space.
Containers, I used to look at them and think, oh, they're just for like businesses and meetings and things. I'm like, oh, wait, life is a ceremony. So why would I not create a bunch of little micro containers and big containers for myself versus when I go there, I'm in that thing. And so for me, what containers look like are the seasons of my day. So in the spring, when I wake up, my first container is time in my Zen den. That's my practice for myself. That's breath, that's journaling, coloring, dancing, lighting a candle, saying a prayer, setting an intention, and planting my seeds for the day in spring. And so then I'll move into the container of summer. And then I think about, okay, as I'm going into aligned action, the masculine, the structure, what do I want to be amplified from the seeds that I planted in the morning container? Okay, well, if I planted a seed of alignment, of abundance, I'm going to make sure that every action in this next container of my day aligns with that. So I'm only going to say yes to the things that fill my cup up. I'm going to say no to the things that I know are going to drain my cup. And so that's a micro container. Then I go into fall, another container of the day where I reflect on the day. I move my body, whether it's working out, dancing, walking my dogs, and reflecting on how my spring went, how my summer went. And then I go into winter where I let it all go. Tomorrow is a fresh new day. So these are micro containers throughout your day. You can implement these in your business. You can implement these in your relationship. And then you can implement them into the containers you join, right? We've got every amount of people out there nowadays that have containers that can fit anyone's needs and desires. So getting into virtual containers that are held in a proper, I like to say, set and setting that align with your core values, your highest good. So getting into containers like that, getting into containers like in-person events, retreats, experiences that allow you, again, that bubble of that set and setting for you to feel safe to flourish in, right? The feminine's chaos, infinite chaos, and we love it. And that's why most people fear the feminine. But once we get into a container or create micro containers for ourselves, the feminine can flourish without having to burn someone down, without having to burn a bridge or lose her shit, because she's put herself into the masculine container to thrive in.
Oh, so good. So well said. I'm just sitting here drinking all this nourishment. Thank you. I have never heard of anyone bring the concept of even the seasons of life and of nature into one singular day. That was just like an orchestra before me. So thank you for sharing that. I'm totally going to implement that into my own life. So I want to know from your perspective, what does it mean for a woman to be untamed?
I can salivate over this question. Oh man, it always brings so many emotions to my heart because I remember what it was like to be tamed. I remember what it was like to live in a box. I remember what it was like to live according to others, to be an expert people pleaser, to repress my emotions so much. I spent a night in jail and landed myself in anger management. So I know what it's like to live a very tamed life for others until I took radical fucking responsibility. I am all about taking radical responsibility for every area of my life, which to the outside world, the tame world, looks like selfish. It looks self-centered. And so the untamed life is actually choosing to take off the shackles, to say, no, thank you. I'm not going to create a life that's true to you. I'm going to create a life that's true to me. I am going to do things differently, unconventional. And the untamed life in the beginning to outside worlds, or like to say, like the muggles, look at it from a place of like, wow, she's really losing her mind. Like she's just doing all of that and tossing. Yes, we want the untamed woman wants to lose her mind, to be able to remember who the fuck she is before society told her she had to be a certain way. So the untamed woman lives her unapologetic life, like no fucks given, from a place of love, from a place of overflow, sets boundaries, prioritizes her health, her mind, her body. She doesn't have water cooler conversations, meaning conversations about lack and scarcity and none of that icky stuff that creates contraction in her body. She surrounds herself with women who, when she shares a dream, they say, that's all you got. Like, that's all you got. Like,
so good.
Like, dream bigger. Like, I know you can go bigger. Like that's the untamed woman.
Whew, so good. Okay, talk to me about the power of surrounding yourself with other untamed women and the power of feminine friendship, really going deep into that, because I think that there's a huge wound in feminine relationships right now. And a lot of women that I'm coming across are they're not aware of the power of feminine friendship, or they've just been so hurt by it that they're resisting it, they're avoiding it and staying away from it. So yeah, speak to a little bit of how much power we have when we come together.
Oh, so much. I had so many and continue and healing sisterhood wounds. The wound that I carried was I'm too much. I had this story and lots of proof for me to continue to affirm and confirm is that when women got to really know me and experience me, I was too much. I'm a Leo. I have so much fire in my chart. Like I am naturally a very energetically big human. And as a child, that was shunned. That was like put down. I got bullied growing up. I got bullied as an adult. And so I say this because I get it. I get how deep that sisterhood wound goes for all of us, no matter what your story is. And it takes a little bit of courage to start healing it. It takes massive vulnerability and risk, right? It's a risk to heal the sisterhood wound, because you could perpetuate a story of whatever fill in the blank your sisterhood wound story is. But once we start listening to our intuition, listening to our womb of like, is this person right for me anymore? Am I right for them? Are we no longer aligned? And if it's a no, the relationship has come to a completion, and that's okay. It's not being a mean girl. It's this relationship's complete. Thank you for everything we learned together, and I'll cherish it. But I now need to make sure that I take care of myself and surround myself with women who do get me and who do want the best for me and I them. And so there is this weird in-between time when you're choosing to surround yourself with like-minded women. But once you start kind of clearing old ties and saying to the universe, right, these are the women that I want to call in. They're like this, they're this, they're this. Like you're manifesting your soulmate, right? That's how you want to call in, I believe, friendships. Really clear on who they are, their core values, what they stand for, what they don't stand for. And then putting yourself in the virtual rooms of people who are led by that hold the vibration of that which you want to expand into, right? The amount of containers I've put myself in, so I didn't even care what they were teaching. I just wanted to be in the room with someone who I like that. I want that. And if I want that, I bet you everyone else they're attracting also wants that. And then you don't even have to think about your sisterhood wound, because you're in a container. We're like, oh, we're like same. And the belief of anything but having empowering women in your life just dissolves away. And you realize, oh, I was just in the wrong rooms. I was in the wrong rooms. And then when women come together, right, we're magnetic, we're powerful, we're feared. Powerful women are feared. One of my favorite mantras is, a well-fucked woman runs the world. And that doesn't mean just sex. This means like everything, like the universe. Like she is just like, bring it. Like, fuck yes, more please is one of our mantras in Untamed. And when you surround yourself with women who are also like, fuck yes, more please, success is inevitable. Support is inevitable, because there's no comparison. There's no judgment. There's no competition. It's you're awesome. I'm awesome. Let's be fucking awesome together, period.
So well said. And I think it's such a good testament to just true sisterhood that are aligned at a deep level, coming together. We truly are so much stronger together than just singularly by ourselves. And it's so fulfilling. I know in my life, in my sisterhood friendships that I've really invested a lot of intention and energy into, I have just been so supported, so seen, so loved, so nourished by those friendships in a way where a male friendship could never do, and I'm so thankful for the many different friendships and relationships that we get to have in our lives, but especially my sisters. So I want to talk a little bit about wealth in femininity. What do you think is something that is specific to women in general that hold them back from wealth?
So many. I'll give the top nuggets. The top common threads that I hear is, I'm not worthy of creating big wealth due to repressed shame, imposter syndrome, self-doubt. Like, I'm not worthy encompasses so much that raising my hand, right? Still unraveling that, like over here, constantly unraveling that. So when I'm not worthy of it, it's only for people like that, for them, for a certain type of person. Another block, another belief, another hindrance is that it has to be really hard to create it. Therefore, I'm just going to kind of hustle and push to a certain extent, and then I might just give up. I might surrender. I might then just keep making the same amount of money every single month. So there's a lot of caps that happen, financial ceilings that happen, because we hold these beliefs that if I did all of this to make this money, how do how do I keep this up? That's impossible. So financial ceilings, upper limits, another one there. And another common one is, I would even say just like these common childhood beliefs that a lot of us are instilled with is money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are evil. They're selfish. The more money you make, the more people you're going to lose. The more money you make, the more responsibilities that you have. So this belief that well-intended people passed on to us that have us see money as a very far away thing. And if and when it happens, then I'm going to have to sacrifice a lot. That I'm going to lose people, that someone might not love me. And so these are just a lot of the things that I believe many women are coming to, I think now more than ever, terms with that none of it is true. Like that none of it is true, because like the divine feminine rising is a thing, whether, if this is the first time you've heard of like the divine feminine rising, it's very much a thing. And so I think more women are realizing the lies they've been telling themselves about money, that it's time to change. And it's time to find a new belief about money.
Oh, so good. And I love that you speak directly to the beliefs, right? Because rather than, changing anything external, we are so powerful when we look inward and we change the internal beliefs that are driving all of our behavior in life. And until we become conscious to those internal beliefs, it's hard to recognize that we are the ones that are creating self-fulfilling prophecies. But once we're able to really alchemize those and choose a new core set of beliefs and a new perspective to go throughout life, we truly do jump into a whole new reality of existence. I just think it's so inspiring to hear about your story and where you came from and where you're at now, like hosting these retreats and the Untamed Festival. Like, I just wonder what the version of you back then, like what she would say if you were to come to her right now and say, hey, by the way, you're going to be doing this. Like, what do you think what her response would have been to that?
I mean, just like jaw dropped. I go there in meditations, whenever I'm doing any inner child work. And she just like, I see her, right, surrounded by people who just don't get her, who don't like understand her magic. And she's like, fuck that. Like, fuck that. Like, that's what we're doing. Like, and just dissolves anything that's not even a match for that. And so it really is. It is truly a dream. And every hard rock bottom that I've been through is so worth it. It's been so fucking worth it, because the wisdom, right? We all have this, our inner medicine mystic archetype, where the medicine mystic goes on a journey, right? Medicine women go on a journey. They go into the woods, they go on an emotional journey, and they come back with tools to support their community, their tribe, their children. Like the medicine woman, and we like to call it Untamed the medicine mystic, it isn't about like being this hippie in the jungle and having to go to 5,000 ayahuasca ceremonies. No, we've all been on a journey. Like if you're listening to this show, you've been on a journey. And so it's beautiful to be able to share the medicine that I have, the lessons that I've learned, so women can get to where they want faster and did not have to go through the roadblocks that I had to go through.
Beautiful. Talk to me about the Untamed Festival. What was the initial, like, how did this come to birth? And then tell me about the last one, maybe some highlights and what the experience is like, and what, if people are interested, like, what is it? What can they expect? Yeah. And what's your heart's mission behind it? So just kind of give me the rundown of Untamed.
Oh, okay. Cue the waterworks. We have a joke on my team. Anytime someone asks me like my why for the festival, if my team's around, they're like 5. 4, and I just like lose it. So
I love that.
So there's going to be some tears here, I'm sure, in any second.
Beautiful.
Yeah. The Untamed Festival was born from a place knowing that there are women out there who are still hiding their true self, who are still pretending to be someone they're not, who are still dimming their light, and just knowing their core, they came here to experience, to share, and to be so much more than they currently are. And I think back to the little girl, my little girl, little me. And I used to just sing, like dance and sing and cover myself in glitter and face paint and just was alive, loved unicorns. And I let society turn that off. And I knew one day that I would gather women to dance, to say, I don't care what job you have, how much money you make, like what your fucking life story is, the trauma you've been through, like none of that matters here. It's like, this is a place for you to drop the walls, to remember the innocence of what it's like to be a little girl, to dance, to get dressed up, to be covered in glitter. Like legit, we're going to be having glitter stations there, like actual body glitter stations. Like it's going to be the best slumber party ever. And yeah, it's to help women just remember who the fuck they are. And to activate the abundance codes that lie within them, to awaken their feminine power and to show up so fully that when they go back home, they don't even want to be who they used to be. It's not even a version that they recognize anymore. And another piece here, why this festival I feel is so important and unlike anything of its kind, because it's substance free. So whenever I think about festivals, like I've never been to like the big ones, because while I want to go, because I love getting dressed up, the idea of being around a bunch of people on drugs makes me want to just curl up in a ball. So not only is it all women's, but it is also substance free. So every woman can feel safe and supported and seen. And yeah, it's just going to be awakening, massive awakening, massive activations, play. It's a blend of a retreat and a festival. So I like to say the depth of a retreat. I'm an introvert, extrovert. So like the idea of being at a festival for 6 days, I'm like, oh no, give me some depth. So it's the depth of a retreat with interactive workshops, breath work, sensual dancing, nourishing food right on the ocean, bougie resort. And then at night, we're going to get dressed up. We've got live performances, DJs. And then here's like the best part, why this is like a blend of retreat and festival. After the DJ, we're like high on our own energy, like cloud nine. How could it get better? Well, we're going to lay down and have a sound bath. So every night before bed, we're going to be covered with the vibration of sound by sound experts here in Costa Rica, and just let the day integrate. Let the day drop in. So that way, when we go to bed, we're relaxed. Our nervous system is back down and we're feeling refreshed the next day. So we are going on a fucking journey.
Are you kidding me right now? This sounds like the best festival I've ever heard of in my entire life. You're telling me there's nervous system regulation and breath work and sensual dancing and festival and DJs without substances, all women, and we're going to end by regulating our nervous system and getting quality sleep? What?
Organic food, like feet on the grass. Every room has an ocean view. Like it is unlike anything of its kind, which is why I knew it had to be created. Like I was like, I want to go to this. Like, and when I couldn't find it. Yeah. Like, oh.
I hope that you guys are enjoying today's show. If you didn't catch it by my reaction just now, I feel like this festival was literally designed for me. You guys know I host my own retreats. I love music and festivals. So to have a space in a container where we're doing the retreat by day and festival by night, and it's all women and it's substance free, I feel like this retreat was literally made for me. That rhymed. Casually just dropping bars over here, don't mind me. Okay, so here's the deal. After we chatted, me and Taylor both kept getting the same downloads separately. So she's in Costa Rica, I'm in California. I'm having this strong feeling that I'm meant to be there, but that I'm not just meant to be there, that I'm supposed to be a part of it. And I'm sitting there like, I can't invite myself to someone else's festival. Maybe it just means I'm supposed to go and attend because it's a full yes for me. So I'm navigating these thoughts. And then a few days later, Taylor reaches out and she says, when I get multiple downloads like this and this message keeps coming through strong, I just have to chat and talk about it and go ahead and like communicate this. but I'm feeling like you're meant to be there. And I want to know how you feel about leading, facilitating one of the morning sessions. And so that started a conversation, and where it ended up leading is that I will be not just facilitating, but also attending the Untamed Festival. So it's in Costa Rica. All the information will be down below. And I'll be leading 2 morning activations. And then the rest of the time I'm attending, just like everybody else, as an attendee of the retreat and festival. So I wanted to share it with you guys because I know that this is going to be such a beautiful container for personal work and discovery, but also for healing the sisterhood wound and for creating feminine friendships, energy, and really embodying the fullest version of you. So if you are looking for a safe container to work on yourself, to develop strong female friendships, and to really go deeper than you can go alone, this is going to be such an incredible space for that. I mean, it was a full yes for me. And if you were listening and you were feeling and having the same reaction that I was having, then I invite you just to pull the trigger and come. This is one of those things that it feels like an investment up front, but when you leave, this experience is literally going to be priceless. So for anyone that's able to make it happen, I would love to invite you to join me. Of course, I have a discount code for my audience. You can just use my full name, Emily Hayden, at checkout, and you'll receive $300 off of the website price. And don't forget that the price on the website includes your week stay at this bougie resort, which every single room has an ocean view room, organic food the entire time, and your ticket to the retreat and festival. So it's an all-inclusive ticket. You'll just need to grab your flight, of course, and shuttle from the airport. But hey, if you end up booking, DM me on Instagram and I will shoot you over my flight info. That way, if we can, maybe we can coordinate and travel to and from together. So, all right, guys, I'm so excited for that. I hope to see a few of you in Costa Rica. And even if not, I know that you guys were probably feeling the same way that I was, just nourished by the conversation that took place here and by everything that Taylor embodies. So I'm so happy to be connected with her. And I look forward to this next step in our connection and friendship by bringing it in person in Costa Rica, of all places. Okay. All right. Love you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Okay. So the question that everyone wants to know, when is it? And do you still have space?
Yes, April 21st through the 26th. You can go to untamedfestival.com. It's all there. It is going to be just beautiful. And if you're looking for your like high vibe sisters, if you're looking for women that you're like, oh my, I want to be around cool women, you're going to find them here.
Well, it speaks to what you were sharing earlier, how when you were talking about finding your tribe, like find the person that is emanating and holding the vibration of that which you seek to experience. And clearly you're the full embodiment of that. So, wow, incredible job. Thank you for offering something so incredible to this world. And I think it just speaks to when women stand in their full power, and they have a vision for something and they bring that vision to life, it's seen for what it is. It's a gift. So thank you for offering this gift. And yeah, just such an incredible thing that you have. So let's get into your podcast, the Embodied Woman podcast. Talk to me a little bit about what people can expect when they go there. What are you passionate about sharing on that platform specifically?
Yes. So the Embodied Woman podcast is a show to help women, same kind of through line as Untamed, remember who the fuck they are, to be activated, to receive unconventional tools and perspective shifts. I love planting seeds that allow people to come to their own conclusion, to empower themselves. That show is really bringing you questions to think about, and that might be triggering, that might be like, oh, like this is so uncomfortable to listen to, or like, I can't even imagine thinking this way. And it helps you. It's a show that really has you lean in and ask yourself the big questions of, what I'm believing in right now about fill in the blank, is that actually my truth? And I bring on guests like yourself, we're going to jam out, that are walking their talk, that are embodied in their medicine mystic, that are embodied in their ethereal priestess and all these archetypes that we all have within us, and showing up fully in the world. So if you need an activation, a remembrance, a little fire under your ass, because sometimes we also need that show is going to support you immensely.
So good. Talk to me about your healing journey in regards to somatic practices that were really beneficial for you. I feel like when people are on their healing journey, we talk a lot about healing, but people are really looking for, okay, what are some options of things that I can try? So are there any somatic practices or experiences that you've had that were really beneficial in your healing journey?
I love this question because it's so fun to get ideas from people. So I hope this
Yeah.
plants some seeds for anyone. Yeah, sexuality. When it comes to my feminine sexuality, I joined tantra programs, which helped me just get uncomfortable and see things a new way. Going to ISTA. ISTA is a 7-day sexual shamanic. It's like school of the temple arts, sexual shamanic. So going to that was a huge edge for me. So ISTA, ISTA, not like a sponsored affiliate of them, just love them. Highly recommend. My husband and I went together. So that.
Where is that?
Yeah, they have it all over. So if you go to, I think it's like ista.com, they've got week-long retreats around the world consistently on different levels. So if you want to get uncomfortable, that's something that will, I think, bring anyone to an edge and really have you break down any walls and barriers that are keeping you from your innocence. So tantra, containers like that, and then plant medicine's been a huge part of my journey. I'm coming on the tail end of a Bufo retreat that I co-host with my personal psychotherapist and Bufo facilitator. So Bufo is a huge part of my journey, and currently one of my medicines I work the most with and am very just humbled by, and different modalities, psilocybin, ayahuasca, you name it. I've tried it and become a student of it, and breathwork and dance.
I love that so much. Talk to me a little bit about Bufo. What is the main benefits that you get from Bufo? What is that experience like, if you're open to sharing? And what a little bit more on that for people that don't know.
Yeah, Bufo is considered and known as the God molecule. And I know some people can hear that and be like, what the fuck? Yeah. And so Bufo is the only medicine that takes your consciousness completely out of your body. So it is a full ego dissolve, which is very confronting because the ego wants to protect us. It wants to make sure we don't die. It wants to make sure no one hurts our feelings. It wants to make sure that we don't fail, right? The ego construct keeps us alive. If we didn't have the ego, we would be dead. And there's so many terms out there that say like the ego is not your amigo and kill the ego. And it's like, oh, no. We want to mature the ego because from the age of 4 to 8, we are in our most like manipulative states as a toddler, right? A toddler knows what to get, like how to get what they want. And what happens if something traumatic happens between the age of 4 and 8 that is not healed, whether it's sexual trauma, lack of emotional support, the ego stays stuck in that state and therefore it doesn't mature. This could lead to narcissism. This could lead to all the things, self-doubt, even narcissism and everything below. And so the goal is to mature our ego so we can live fully in this life and not have a battle. So Bufo helps confront the ego. And it could feel like you're dying. It could feel like you're losing your mind. And like I said in the beginning, I believe the goal in this life is to lose our mind so we can remember who we are. And so Bufo helps you see where you're coming up against an ego construct in your life that's keeping you from the truth, right? And Bufo shows you, I believe, in my opinion, the truth is love. And anything else is an illusion. So Bufo takes you, I get goosebumps every time I talk about Bufo. It takes you to the source. It takes you to love. It takes you to light. It shows you everything that's not love is an absolute illusion. And we could hear that and we could know that and we can conceptualize that, right? And have all the mantras that remind us of that. But Bufo helps you experience it, an actual embodied experience. And we have a joke at my Bufo retreats. Once you know, you can't unknow.
Yeah.
Because once you know that love is the only thing because you experienced it at the deepest somatic level that you could possibly ever experience, in my opinion, you can't unknow. You can't come back to life and fall prey to victim, to lack, to fear, because love is truly the only answer and the only thing that is real. And Bufo shows you that.
I so agree with what you're saying here. I think there's different levels of awareness and consciousness that can happen, right? And I found that often when we're not in love, we are typically in something like fear, which displays in different ways, like victimhood or anxiety or whatever the restriction. It looks like a restriction, a closing of the heart. And love is like an expanding and opening of the heart. And it's something that we can always return to. I really know that it's my soul's mission to return to love. And within that, I have a lot of opportunities in my life that present in quite the opposite way. And what I get to do as a practice is return to love and to remind other people that's literally why we're here, is to return to the love that we are, because it is the only thing that exists. So thank you for speaking to that and sharing your journey and just everything from today. I feel like today it was just so nourishing. That's like the number one word that's coming to mind. And I think it's such a testament of your divine feminine embodied. So again, thank you for the work that you've done to stand fully in your authenticity of who you are, because who you are is such a gift. And I just can't thank you enough for being willing to share this space with me and share your wisdom and insight with my audience here today. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. My cup is overflowing.
Oh, I'm so glad. Okay. Well, for everyone that's listening, if you guys want to connect with Taylor, I will make sure to place all of her stuff down below. The Untamed Festival will be linked down below too. So if you want to check that out, it'll be there, as well as her podcast and everything. So make sure to tag us on your Instagram stories if you enjoyed today's show, and let us know what your favorite takeaway was, what really spoke to you. If you feel like you just want to chat in the DMs about something further, my DMs are open. I assume your DMs. Yeah, cool. 100%. Our DMs are both open. So feel free to send us a message if you want to chat further about something that was talked about in today's show. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to rate and review the show if you enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.